Okay, I've been covering CriticalThink a little, well, at least not this past video, but the one before that. He came to my channel and, started to leave comments and everything. And so I tried to nail him down to, about rotation and stuff. So I was pointing out the little red stick man at the top who's standing at about 80 degrees north latitude, and he's making a turn. So I asked him point blank, is the little red stick man at 80 degrees north latitude walking in a circle to the left or walking in a straight line? Okay, so we're talking about lake water, because I showed this picture of dead still water and said this is not possible on a spinning ball of earth, like the guy throwing up the red ball, right? The red water ball, and you see the water goes to the equator. That's just the reality or the physics of a rotating ball. That's what it's going to do, okay? And I'll explain why. So we're talking about lake water. In a lake having to turn. So I asked him, I said, does the lake have to turn left to follow its line of latitude? And he says, the lake does not turn left or right. It is following straight the line of latitude, just the same as the tread on a tire. That's why I have the Michelin Man as my thumbnail, because he's defending the sphere Earth, again, as a cylinder. He's defending the sphere by describing a cylinder. Does that make sense to anybody? You would assume a pretty top science guy in the ball community that they would invite to Antarctica to witness this big event or whatever. And now he cannot say that this little guy here at the top, about 80 degrees north latitude, is turning it. He cannot admit it. This is a dishonest guy, or he's dumber than a stump. You tell me, what do you think? Is he dumb or is he lying? Let's continue on. He just compared the sphere Earth and a latitude line to the tread on a tire. A tire rotates on an axis, and that tread is parallel to the axis, just like a cylinder, okay? And I told you in the last video, I called it a spherelander. That's the combination of a sphere and a cylinder. But ultimately, it's still a cylinder. And that's what they have to describe. And it goes back to JSS Tiger, Wolfgang Lahn. These are two trolls. That's how they described it too. Isn't this curious? Anybody, if you agree with me or get this, understand what I'm saying, please let me know in the comments, because so far it's very few that seem to comment. They come in, they bring up something else, but this is a killer. This is my new, well, I've been doing this for like 5 years on rotation, but 2025, this is the killer now, saying that the ground rotates out from under the fast-moving water. The air, everything wants to go in a straight line as per Newton's first law of motion, right? An object will tend to stay in motion at a constant speed and in a straight line unless there's something else to act upon it. But there's nothing to act upon it except maybe the bank of the lake that it slams against, because the lake is turning left out from under the water. Well, the water doesn't know that. Free-moving water, thousands of feet high or even hundreds or even 1 foot high water is going to want to move in a straight line. So anyway, let me continue with this. So now he's comparing it to the tread on a tire, and he says it doesn't move left or right, it just travels in the direction of rotation. Okay, cylinder man. So the Earth's a cylinder, or the spherelander, right? Okay. And then I say, I bring up the little red stick man, and now here's a disingenuous answer. So I say, the stick man at 80 degrees, is he circling to the left, or is he walking in a straight line? He comes back with, I don't care what your stick man is doing. The lake is not walking. What? The lake follows the latitude line. Now, there's some shiftiness. I see this as shifty. Like he sees that it turns, but he can't admit that it turns because he knows where I'm going to go with it next. Because once they admit that it turns and everything, let's say 45 degrees north latitude, where the ground is rotating at 500 miles per hour, well, the water, first of all, this ball Earth is fictitious. It would have never started in the first place. As soon as it tried to start, everything would have moved to the equator. It would be a unlivable, sci-fi ball. That's all. It's not real. Let's just play along for a second. Okay, so that we're rotating. The ground is rotating at 45 degrees north latitude at about 500 miles per hour, and the ground is turning to the left. So all the water in lakes and in the oceans and big ponds or whatever is going to want to go straight. You would never see glass mirror-like water like this. That's not possible. This is I like this. This is my favorite debunk. Of course I like the, you can't have gas pressure next to an open vacuum, that we must have containment. I love that one. That's great too. But this, I find that this is irrefutable, undebunkable. I will take anybody on with this. So, and then he makes this thing, oh, the stick man and the lake is not walking. The lake follows the latitude line. Okay, he's trying to, I don't know what he's trying to be there, but it's not good. It's not a good look. You notice I have the red ones, the red highlights, and I also have green ones. The green ones are his word salad. You know, it's green for salad. Okay, so he says, when I say it does not make sense, I mean you are wrong. The rotational velocity vector. Oh, the rotational velocity vector follows a latitude line. Okay, think of a sphere as a cylinder of increasing radius. What's a cylinder of increasing radius? That means you start at the pole and you got a little cylinder and then you keep stacking thin cylinders, slightly getting bigger diameter, bigger diameter, bigger diameter till you get to the equator, and then you stack them, you stack small again till you get this, the spherolander. Nobody else thinks this is crazy? If he's lying, or he's dumb. And this is their representative to go to Antarctica? Anyway. Okay, so think of a sphere as a cylinder of increasing radius, and I think you'll understand. No. Each latitude line can be considered a very thin cylinder. Mr. Critical Think, no it can't. There is no, here comes the word salad, he's going to throw it on me, oh, here comes the salad, oh no. There is no lateral velocity vector. That's where you are making a mistake. So he just told me where I'm making my mistake in a word salad sentence. Okay, let's keep going on. All right, now let me tell you, I did some Googling. If they disagree with this, feel free to disagree. We can debate that. Okay, I asked, are small circles on a sphere straight lines? Okay, you know that latitude lines are considered small circles. The only great circles are the equator and the longitude lines. All the other latitude lines are considered small circles, also called parallels. Okay, so I asked, are small circles, and I didn't mention the Earth for a reason. I didn't say latitude lines because I don't want it thinking that I'm talking about the Earth, because then it'll give me propaganda. You know what I'm saying? So I asked it, are small circles on a sphere straight lines? And it says, no, small circles on a sphere are not considered straight lines. On a sphere, straight lines are represented by great circles, which are the biggest circles you can draw. Well, I'll go ahead and just keep reading it. Which are the largest circles that can be drawn on the sphere and pass through its center. In other words, you draw it on a sphere and it always creates like an equator, because it's the biggest circle you can draw on the sphere. Anything smaller becomes a small circle. Okay, now the yellow part I added, but it's accurate too. Okay, so it bisecting the ball is a great circle bisects the ball and shares the same center as the sphere, and great circles drawn on a sphere intersect each other. Okay, so that's why the small ones are called parallels. As far as our latitude lines, they don't intersect, but the longitude lines do. And any other great circles you draw on a sphere. That's why the path of the water and the air, the path everything's going to take is a great circle, because it's being thrown as, you know, as the ball rotates 500 miles per hour, let's say at 45 degrees north latitude, throws the water at 500 miles per hour. Well, it's not going to throw it into a turn, into a circle. It can't. It throws it in a straight line. And a straight line on a sphere is a great circle. And I said all great circles intersect each other, and they all intersect the equator. That's why water, like this red ball, spins to the equator and spins off of a spinning ball. That's the physics, if you will, of rotation and water on a ball. That's what it does. And all longitude lines and the equator are great circles. And great circles, straight lines on a sphere, cannot parallel one another. It's not possible, because they'd both be the biggest circles you can draw. So you'd have to draw it at an angle to the original great circle. Okay, only curved circles, which are known as small circles, can parallel each other. All right, so here's about small circles. This is from Google. Small circles are smaller circles that do not pass through the center, making them curved relative to the sphere's surface, like latitude lines drawn on a globe. Ooh, it's mentioning the globe. The latitude lines are also small circles and also referred to as parallels. Great circles are straight lines. In spherical geometry, the equivalent of a straight line is a great circle, as it represents the shortest path between 2 points on the sphere's surface. That's important. What is the shortest line you would use between 2 points on a sphere? A straight line. Here, I put this little piece of paper I drew with the 2 points on my blue ball here. As you can see, a straight line is a great circle. The latitude line is not a straight line. Wolfgang Lawn and JSS Tiger and CriticalThink. It's not a straight line. You do not traverse it straight. Because remember, you're traversing the surface of a sphere. Okay, small circles are curved. Small circles on a sphere are not considered straight lines because they do not follow the shortest path between 2 points and are not aligned with the sphere's center. Busted. Now, CriticalThink was like, oh, I know what your problem is. I know what your problem... No, I know what your problem is. This is why you're describing the sphere Earth as a cylinder. Maybe a combination you don't understand because you've never been challenged on this point. But you don't understand, and now you're caught, and now you're trying to fib your way out by describing a cylinder. But here's your problem. Let's go from the equator to the pole in the north. The equator is like a Ferris wheel. It goes up and over. Like you're sitting in the Ferris wheel and you're taking the ride up and over. As you move to the north, as you go up to the North Pole, toward the North Pole, it starts to change. You start to take a turn, but the turn is very slight, and the turn keeps increasing until you get all the way to the North Pole. I'm going to make it extreme so you get it. Drop a hula hoop over the North Pole, walk around the hula hoop. Now you are akin to riding a merry-go-round, or just stand still on the North Pole. It just takes you 24 hours to go around, but you just rode a very slow merry-go-round at the North Pole, right? At the equator, you're riding the Ferris wheel up and over, following the curvature of the Earth. You're doing like a great circle. That's where you're having the problem. You don't get that it's a merry-go-round as you get to the higher and higher latitudes. That's why, like my little man here at 80 degrees north latitude, maybe doing a few hundred miles per hour, whatever, he's on a big merry-go-round. He has a little bit of tilt because it's a sphere, not a cylinder. The surface of a cylinder is always parallel to the axis of rotation. So you as a person are standing perpendicular to that, but you are level, because the ground matches the pole. They're parallel, but not on a sphere. Nowhere on the sphere except for the equator is the ground parallel to the axis of rotation or the pole.
Can you not see that?
Are you going to come clean, Mr. CriticalThink? I'm going to tell you I put this video out. You're going to say, you made a hit piece on me. Well, I'm going to save you some work. You said you were going to do a video to debunk me and to show me how I'm wrong. Well, I'm going to save you some time. Understand this. Be honest. Tell me then. So here's your problem. If you're honest and you say, okay, yes, the ground turns out from under the water, the air, everybody on the surface, everything, the ground is turning out from under us. You would never have still water. You can't accept that. You can't say it. So if the water and everything is going and staying right over the ground, right? It's turning with the ground. If that's your position, then the next logical question is, what is causing it to do that? Right now, the only force on Earth that can do that is gravity for you guys. And that's located at the center of mass. And the center of mass has things orbiting in a great circle. Just like real orbits, not real. They may have balloons up there, but they don't have anything orbiting the Earth because it's not a ball. It's not a spinning ball. But the concept, right, the sci-fi concept of orbits is that they knew enough when they came up with it that they would have to only have geostationary satellites on the equator. Geostationary means they're staying in sync with the ground. That's what the water would have to do. The air would have to do. But you know what? You can't have a geostationary satellite over a latitude unless you put propulsion on it and you make it, force it. You can take an airplane and travel over a latitude line, but you can't orbit over one because orbits go in straight lines, great circles, and latitudes are a turn. So you're in a pickle. You're stuck between having to call the Earth or describe the Earth as a cylinder, spherelinder, hybrid. You can't use a sphere to defend your sphere because it doesn't work. This is why you guys wouldn't answer that question. Is this guy at 80 degrees, isn't he turning to the left? You wouldn't answer because then you would have to say, well, what's causing them to turn? What's working like gravity around the pole? That's you're cooked. So this is the argument for 2025. Happy New Year, my friends. It is debunked. That's why I couldn't care less what's going on in this Antarctic thing. It's all smoke and mirrors. I don't know what's going on. It stinks. But I'm going to be pushing this, and I hope you guys out there link to this video, push it, and go to Critical Think. Hey, when are you going to come clean, dude? You're lying. You're stuck. I get it. You're between a rock and a hard place. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.